The target of this exercise is to replace a fixed value into a value that can be changed. We will modify the exercise number 1. We will replace the fixed set point at 20 degrees with a variable called set point, and then we will show it in the mask. Okay, so let's reopen the previous exercise and start from the strategy. First of all, I delete the fixed value and create a variable more or less as we have done before for room temp and cooling. Just give a name. Data type analog, like the temperature. A first difference compared to room temp is the field access. Before was only output, this time is input-output, because we want to modify it. We want to let the user modify it in the mask. When the field is input-output, make sense the limits. So I can set limits so the user want to be able to insert a value out from this range. The limits, minimum and maximum, are used only if the field access is input-output. In case of only output, they are not used. We can reduce also the field format. These figures are enough to fit in these limits. Another difference is the memory type. So far, we used RAM memory. You know that the main feature of the RAM memory is that it is volatile. That is, in case of blackout, the value is lost. This is not an issue in case of room temp and cooling, because every program cycle, as soon as this block are executed, the value of the variable are updated. While it is unacceptable for set point, in case of blackout, we don't want to lose the value. So we have to use a permanent memory. Permanent memory have an additional property, is the default. Technically speaking, this value is saved into a file which extension is dev, like default values. But later I will show you how to install it in the real physical target or in the simulator. There is a very, very important detail regarding the permanent memory. The permanent memory has a limited number of write cycles, at least 100,000 times. For example, you can change the set point at least 100,000 times. Well, this limit, it is not an issue for variables like set point, because set point changes not so many times in the real life of a controller. Could be an issue in case of an application with a lot of hour counters, because if you have a lot of hour counters of a lot of compressor, could be an issue. Anyway, for hour counters, there are blocks, macro blocks in the library that are able to reduce the effective number of write cycle. It could be an issue if you have an application that very often, for example, every program cycle, write in the permanent memory. Anyway, just remember that the permanent memory has this limit. Well, let's close the wizard. Here is the variable. You can see that now we have a dangling connection. Dangling connections are in red. Dangling means that there is one of the two extremities that is not connected. So now I can move set point and move the pin of the block over the extremity of the dangling connection, and the result is this. Okay, that's all for the strategy. Now let's continue with the mask. Let's reopen the mask. We have to do exactly what we have done in the exercise 1. Just place a text, set point, temperature set point, whatever you want. and the field, a field with the variable we have just created, setpoint. You can see that there is a graphical difference between this field and this field. This is a graphical difference that reminds you the direction of the field. If the letter is a small case, the field is only output, while if it is uppercase, capital, means that the field is input-output field. Okay, we'll copy also the unit of measurement. Well, okay, now I can simulate. Okay, start simulation. Probably you expected to see here 20.0, that is the default value that we set in the variable wizard. It is not, you don't see 20 because the default value must be installed. Here in the simulator, you have to use this button, load dv file. There isn't a feedback, but it works. And here is the default value. While in the physical target, you have to select the dv file, also this file in the files you have to upload. Remember that in both cases, the default are installed one shot. That is, as soon as you click this button in the simulator, or you upload in the Pico Manager. The default values can't be retrieved somehow later on. So start again the simulator. I can add it also here in the watch. Now let's see how the user can change this parameter. He has to use the keypad, up, down, enter keys, enter to move the cursor on the field, and then up and down to change the number. Okay, let's try to change the set point to 25. Look, please note that here in the mask the number is 25, while the variable is still 20. Why? Because we have to confirm the value. Okay, set point 25, so the cooling will start at 25 plus 1, 26. Okay, cooling is on, and switch off 25 minus 1, 24, and here is the cooling is off. Well, now you know how to replace a constant with a variable. Now we could do the same with the differential, but now you already know how to do it. That's all for this exercise. Thank you for watching.